We gather videos and information from the web, and if you stick around, we are gonna share it with you. So stay tuned for news and updates.
Not holding dollars anymore, are you?
No, that's right. So there's a traditional banking model which says that every currency you need to move into, you have a nostro account or a correspondent account in that country, and you have to transfer or debit and credit an account in that particular country, which means you're holding many different relationships in different jurisdictions. What we've done with the use of cryptocurrency and Ripple in particular, the XRP, is to be able to look at liquidity levels for each of those particular currencies and only have one unique currency we need to switch into, which is XRP. I used to work for SWIFT. I was SWIFT for 20 years, so SWIFT is flowing through my veins. SWIFT is the preeminent messaging system for the financial industry, which covers, say, payments, FX, trade. What we're looking with the crypto, though, is where SWIFT would have a store and forward system for most of its payment transactions, where you need service level agreements that in a certain time I will do something, the payment turns up at a certain time during the day. Here we're looking at the new network styles, which allow instant, real-time movement to the funds and visibility of those funds as well. And I think we're also seeing that SWIFT are changing their network capability so that real time will be a possibility as well. But we may also see Ripple XRP moving across the SWIFT network as a currency when we're perhaps using something like FX.
Multi-generational wealth. That's what's at stake today, John, because we're just moments away from what I believe will be the biggest crypto event of this decade. And there is nothing that can stop it. And that is what's so amazing about it.
Well, I'll tell you what's amazing is that right off the bat, you're starting with a big prediction about this upcoming event.
Here's the thing. I'm not gazing into my crystal ball about this, John. I want to be very clear about that. This event will happen. It is 100% guaranteed to take place.
But let me stop you right there, Tika. I know you met him, but how can you guarantee that something will happen?
It's a great question. A few years ago, again, I personally met this man who's about to flip the switch and trigger this panic. He's a crypto billionaire, one of the most important men in the crypto world, and developers who are involved in this project, they have confirmed this is happening by as early as the end of this month. That means they could flip the switch at any moment they choose. They're actually running the final test as we speak. John, this is the final test right before they pull that trigger. That means we could wake up tomorrow morning and read about it in the headlines.
Yeah, see, I knew this was going to be timely. I just knew it. So this panic that you're talking about could start as soon as tomorrow.
Exactly. And we only have one shot here, because I'm not talking about a Bitcoin halving that happens every 4 years. I mean, if you miss a Bitcoin halving, it's not great, but at least 4 years later, you get another shot at it. I'm talking about an event that will only happen one time. Once they flip the switch, John, there's no going back.
President Putin announced this week that Russia will begin using the Chinese yuan for international payments instead of the dollar. Saudi Arabia is also in talks with Beijing to do the same thing. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, they're in talks with Iran as well to consider an economic alliance with China and Russia. And they can even be joining the BRIC countries, which is an acronym for these countries here: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. These countries all have emerging economies. So what happens if our economy and the U.S. dollar are no longer the world's dominant currency? Former Assistant Treasury Secretary and host of the Monica Crowley podcast, Monica Crowley, is here to weigh in. Monica, great to see you this morning. Let's start right there. What happens if these emerging economies move away from the U.S. dollar towards the Chinese yuan?
Well, good morning, Will. It's great to be with you. And it's really hard to overstate exactly how catastrophic the abandonment of the U.S. dollar would be as the world's global reserve currency. Look, since the end of World War II, the dollar has been the safe place to go, and it's been backed up by a couple of things. It originally was backed up by gold, but President Nixon took us off the gold standard, so there's no hard asset backing up the dollar anymore for the last 50 years. But also it's been backed up by the strength and economic power of the United States and the fact that oil has always been traded in dollars. If that were to end, that would mean the end of the U.S. dollar. Look, there's a perfect storm happening right now, Will. The world's reserve currency being that, having that status has been a real privilege, but we've abused the privilege by wholly reckless monetary and fiscal policies over many years, certainly over the last couple of years, which has really devalued the dollar. On top of that, now you do have this perfect storm of Biden's weakness, his war on American domestic energy production, the Ukraine war, and as you point out, because of all of these things, we've got America's enemies led by China forming a new economic bloc. And all it would take at this point now, because we're at this pivotal moment, Will, is for Saudi Arabia, who has indicated that they're open to this, to say, you know what, we're going to be open to considering other currencies to trade in oil. If that were to happen, there would be a complete implosion of the global economic system, but certainly the American economic system. And if that were to happen, you'd be looking at sky-high inflation, just raging Weimar Republic kind of inflation. If you think inflation is bad now, just wait. But more importantly, we would lose our economic dominance and we would lose our superpower status.
Monica, the world's reserve currency, you said it's a privilege for the United States for the dollar to have been the world's currency. How does that relate to each individual American? How has that changed or impacted or improved our lives throughout the last several decades?
Yeah, I mean, it's given the United States incredible dominance in the world in terms of the economic system and in terms of trade. It's kept prices down. So whether it's energy prices, whether it's your food prices, the entire global economic system is reliant on the safe and secure dollar. But that is no longer true, again, because we've been printing money like crazy and devalued the power of the dollar and the value of the dollar. But on top of it now, again, oil is the critical linchpin of this. If Saudi Arabia decides to join with America's enemies here and start trading oil in different currencies, that is going to undermine the entire global economic system. And here at home, you know what it's going to mean for us? It's going to mean raging inflation, so much worse than anything we have ever experienced, Will. And I'll tell you, they're setting it up so that they can then come to the rescue by introducing central bank digital currencies. If they were to do that, and the United States already has a pilot program, that means the loss of your individual economic freedom, because the government will have total access and control of everything you buy and sell and the ability to turn it off like that.
Ominous warning. I hear you. Saudi Arabia is the tipping point. Oil trading in dollars is the tipping point.
Before we start today's discussion on XRP, I want to make sure everybody is aware of the fact that Ripple already won their lawsuit against the SEC back on October 1st of 2021. Now, this information was posted by Ripple themselves, and it's also been shared across numerous financial and legal sources for a few hours before they suddenly and very mysteriously removed everything from the internet. But this was not removed before our QSI team, myself included, was able to capture much of this intel. So if you've not seen the evidence yet, please watch my call with Mel Carmine from March of 2022, or come join us on Telegram. Our channel is at Quantum Stellar Initiative, and you can browse our post from back on actually October 1st of 2021 and see this happening live time. That way you can verify my statement. So please know that today's discussion is not going to be based on any speculation over the result of the lawsuit, but with the understanding that Cranker, Nick, and I are fully aware that the White Hats are and have always been in control and waiting to make the announcement again that Ripple's already won their lawsuit, and also waiting to actually make the announcement, the formal announcement, that XRP and XLM will revalue after they revalue the physical gold and silver first. So yes, this decision is entirely up to the white hats, not the courts, and certainly not random internet personalities making unsubstantiated claims. Thanks so much and hope you enjoy the show.
This is not financial advice, and by any means you should not take any advice from us. We have no financial background. This channel is strictly fun base. So stay along for the ride, and if you like what you see, be free to like and subscribe.